Welcome to another episode of Let's Chat With. Joining me is a famous 11-year-old magician and ventriloquist, Brynn Cummings. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. When you were 6, almost 7 years old, you received your first magic kit at Christmas. What was that like, and what kind of stuff was in the magic kit?
I mean, for me, it was pretty fun. Right after, immediately after I opened all my presents, I opened it up and wanted to start playing with the tricks. It was a long time ago, but I'm pretty sure that I remember there were cups and balls, and there was the magic moving wand. I'm pretty sure. I honestly, it's really hard to remember. What else was there? Yeah, there were a lot of just like starter tricks, but that's what really got me interested in it.
A few months later, with you and with your dad, you took a trip to Colon, Michigan, nicknamed the Magic Capital of the World. For those who don't know, why is it called the Magic Capital of the World?
Most magicians are there. That's where Harry Blackstone and Abbott, I forgot, or Percy Abbott. That's where they lived. He got a little island there, and that's basically that's where there's a cemetery there. A lot of famous magicians are buried there, and it's just a lot of magicians like to come there, especially because Blackstone was there.
What did the trip mean to you?
At first he surprised me with it, so I actually didn't know where we were going. And he took me into Fab Magic with Rick Fisher. And we looked around, and he was at the counter showing me a bunch of these little tricks. And I absolutely loved it. And there I ended up getting my first trick, which I don't remember exactly what that was, but I ended up getting my first trick there. I'm pretty sure it was the magic coloring book. That's where I got that there.
So you also took a camp there as well. Can you tell me about the magic camp?
Yep, so the camp was in Coldwater, but Rick Fisher started it. So they taught us a bunch of tricks, and then there was a night show where all the kids got to perform. And that's really where was my first performance. Because we all got to perform one of the things we learned. So I did a little segment with sponge balls.
At 8 years old, you performed in the Abbott's Magic Get-Together in Colon, Michigan, and entered the talent competition at the convention. You were the youngest and the only female competitor and took first place overall. What was it like when you were chosen as the winner?
That was probably the most nerve-wracking point in my life at that time. I was so nervous. But the thing that made it even more nerve-wracking is we were at the place at like 9 a.m. performing, and then we had to wait all the way until like 8 o'clock at night to figure out who won. And so, because that's what was really made it nerve-wracking. So you had a whole day worrying about if you were gonna win or not. But it was actually really surprising, because I thought even if I did get a place, I'd get like second or third, like I probably wouldn't get first. And so they called like second and first. I'm like, or second and third. I'm like, oh, I'm probably not getting a place, or I'm probably not getting like one of the top places then. And then all of a sudden they said my name for first place, and that was so weird. It was so weird, like, because I had no idea it was coming. So.
In 2020, you appeared on the CW show Penn and Teller Try This at Home Too, where you performed 2 illusions. What were the 2 illusions?
So one illusion that I did is we took a vase, and normally they did it with like a stick or something, or a magic wand. We decided to do it with a wand from Harry Potter, my favorite book series. So we had to make a wand levitate inside of a glass. And then we also had to make ourselves levitate, and we had to make them all by ourselves, DIY. And so that was a really fun time to do.
Also, what was it like to be on the show?
It was really cool, because it was just one day. We just got a message. It was this like password protected video and everything that said, all right, here are the things you are doing. And then like they showed you what you were doing. So it was actually really, really fun making the stuff and everything.
In November 2021, you were asked to give a TED Talk at TEDx Detroit called How to Dream Like a 10-Year-Old. Personally, what was it like for you on stage? Were you nervous?
I've never experienced stage fright until that moment. That one moment in time was the first time I had ever experienced being nervous to go on stage. Because it was probably the biggest thing I've ever done, because it's national. But it was really, really fun. I didn't mess up at all. So yeah, that was probably one of my most fun performances, just actually giving a speech.
Secondly, how does someone dream like a 10-year-old?
I guess a way is just thinking that I don't really know how to explain it. You just don't give up. I mean, I've been bullied a lot in school for doing the things I do, but just like don't give up and just keep doing what you want to do. Keep like dreaming. Like my one dream was to perform, and I never gave up, and so that's what I was able to
For
do.
the last 2 years, you have been performing alongside magician Dwayne Lafen. How did that come about?
So it was actually kind of funny. What ended up happening is he lived in I totally forgot tip of my tongue. What was
Branson.
it? He lived in Branson, Missouri. But then what ended up happening is he started getting older and decided to move down to the magic capital of the world, Colon. So now his home is there, but all of his girls, all of his performance assistants are back in Branson. So what ended up happening is we saw a Facebook thing and he said, hey, I'm looking for assistants because I just moved here. All my assistants are back in Branson. I need new assistants for the show. My mom said, my daughter will do it. So he was thinking I was a lot older, but so I'm the first kid he's ever worked with. I came, we had a speech, or not speech, but we had a little talk, showed me the theater and said, here, get in that box. So I got into a box, and that's really what got me started. And
Is there anything you would like to perform in the show that you haven't done yet?
yeah, there are a couple of things. The sad thing is, since I'm still so little, I'm really short and everything. Which I mean, some of the girls in the show, I do work along a 17-year-old. So she's only like a couple inches taller than me. I do one trick in the show, just because I'm so small. It's kind of it's not as cool when you have such a big person, or when you have a smaller person come out of a box instead of a bigger person, because it's obvious that they can fit inside it. So I would like to do, there are some like to do, such as shadow box, and we do have a really cool levitation one that I want to do.
Who do you look up to as mentors in magic?
I look up to, so for magic, I look up to Michael Mode, which he's helped me with a lot of stuff. He helped me write my TED Talk and everything. Then there's Trino. He's given me some tables, and he's actually gotten me started a lot too, having me special guests in a lot of his shows. And then the other one is definitely Dwayne Laughlin, as we work together with him a lot. So he's helped me build up my stage presence.
You're not just a magician, but also a ventriloquist. When you were 8, you saw Darcy Lynn on America's Got Talent and wanted to do what she would. For your birthday, you got a mermaid and named her Coral. Firstly, what was it like when you saw her for the first time?
So Darcy Lynn went on America's Got Talent 2017, I believe. I remember I always have loved AGT. We always sit down and watch it. But so we were just sitting and watching it, and then all of a sudden I saw this little 12-year-old girl walk on stage. And I'm like, oh, she's nice. And then I see she has this rabbit, and she makes it sing absolutely beautifully. And so I'm like, I think I can try that. And I actually still have the video of the first night I actually ever tried to do it. I sang a song. I don't even remember what I sang it with, but I actually sang Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds from the Beatles and posted it on Facebook. Yeah, somehow I actually did it. Of course, I wasn't like super good. Like I wasn't extremely good because I had just started. But then once I kept practicing, I kept getting better and better until I got my first puppet.
Why a mermaid?
It was a surprise. I didn't even know I was getting a puppet because I got it for my birthday. So I actually don't know why it was particularly a mermaid. I did actually get one other puppet along with the mermaid. I got this little like princess one that kind of looks like Sophia the First a little bit, I guess. I never ended up using her though. She's like downstairs or something she's in there. But yeah, I don't know why it was a mermaid, but I ended up loving her because she was really fun having an actual puppet.
Have you heard of TikTok ventriloquist Megan Casey and her dinosaur Aiden?
Yes, we have. We've actually seen her. I saw her for the first time like 2 months ago, and we were watching, and I'm like, who's that? I'm like, she's a good ventriloquist. So yeah, I have seen, she's done interviews with you before also.
Yes, she has. You're 11 years old, and many Kids your age are thinking about becoming doctors, teachers, firefighters, lawyers, etc. For you, why become a magician and an ventriloquist?
I guess being a ventriloquist is definitely something that stands out because there's not a ton of ventriloquists in the world. Magician, I honestly have no idea why. I just picked up some magic tricks one day and decided I wanted to do it, and it's a lot more fun the more bigger stuff you get. But yeah, the ventriloquism is really just because it's a lot unique, or it's more unique than most things, because most people have the talent of playing an instrument, speaking a different language, singing. I decided I'm gonna do something that like not a ton of people do. So I just feel like it's a special thing to do.
What's it like when people find out you're an 11-year-old magician and ventriloquist?
It's actually quite funny because I get a lot of I'll meet a lot of people and they'll be like, "Wow, you're only 11? Like, how are you doing this?" So it's actually really funny, and like they always are asking for like autographs and everything. It's a lot of fun.
With your whole life stretched out before you, do you think magic will be something that you want to keep doing when you're older? Do you think you'll move on to something else?
I really don't know. It depends because I want to be either like a teacher or an actor or full on ventriloquist. I like being a ventriloquist a little bit more than I like being a magician. So I don't know if I'll stick with it. I probably will. But I don't know if I'll stick with it forever because I want to try different things.
And finally, where can people find you online? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube?
All right, so we do have a TikTok page. I don't post a ton on it, but I do have a couple tiny videos of me throwing my voice or something, or I do have some little clips of performances I've done. I do have an Instagram page. I do post. I do have a Facebook page. And we actually just came out with our website, it's brynncummings.com.
Well, thank you, Brynn, for joining me on this episode of Let's Chat With.
All right, thanks for having me.